Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's Saturday. Last night was the new moon in Aquarius, and I know lots of you don't subscribe to astrology, and to be honest, I like to keep a skeptical mind about it all as well, but I'm really enjoying this new mysticism that's part of my journey. It's very fun, and as long as it's positive, why not? So new moon every month, and so it's new moon, and then 2 weeks later it's a full moon, and then 2 weeks later it's a new moon. So it's like a cycle. Well, it is a cycle. The lunar cycle is the most obvious and apparent one, I think. The one that's closest to home, because the moon's literally just there. And for me, observing the moon as it pulls twice a day the whole ocean, every drop of water moves and is affected by the gravity of the moon. And we are mostly water, and our emotional body is water, feminine. So we are naturally also, I believe, being pulled and adjusted in this cycle, in this lunar cycle as well. So I'm honoring that by doing rituals, new moon and full moon rituals, and little ceremonies. It's nothing culty. All I'm doing is setting intentions for the next 2 weeks. So it's a really good time in this energy as we start a new cycle, a new moon cycle. And it's completely dark, and then the moon, she reveals herself to us over 2 weeks, and the energy changes during that time. And the more sensitive I become as I find myself on this journey, on this healing journey, on this journey of going within and cultivating awareness and expanding my capacity to feel and love and understand a little bit better, or at least have not necessarily understanding, because who knows what the fuck's going on really in this human existence, but trying to feel my way through it. I've found that as I notice and pay more attention to the lunar cycles, I have more awareness of my connection to the cyclical nature of human existence. So on a new moon, it's a good time for manifesting, because it's the start of the cycle. So what I did last night was excuse me, I'm a little bit out of breath. I'm just walking up to the base camp of Lion's Head. So what I did last night was I wrote down all the things that I want to change in my life. Now I'm going to get vulnerable with you guys. I'm going to tell you some things, because this was also one of my new moon intentions that I'm setting, is to be more open, be more vulnerable with you guys online. The only thing that's really stopping me from doing that is my ego, because I'm scared of what people might think. So I'm working on that. But yeah, I'm writing down a list of things that aren't serving me anymore in my life that I want to change, and a list of things that I want to pull in and like manifest into my life. What is it that I want? What is it that I need? Get really clear on those things. And it all starts with a thought. That's the first frequency that goes out. Thoughts, compounding the power of those thoughts by writing them down, and then feeling them out. So the frequency of your thoughts, when they match your emotions, that's when the manifesting power really kicks in, and the universe goes, okay, cool, yeah, this is what you want, this is what you're going to get. So you guys know that I used to be an athlete, professional athlete, kayaker, and that whole period of my life was incredible. It was incredibly difficult in a lot of ways, and I made it difficult for myself, and I loved it to be difficult and very challenging. I had to be 100% committed to going faster in a kayak in order to win the races that I wanted to win. And the races that I did win, I was very successful at kayaking, and that was part of the reason why I identified myself as a kayaker. But if you know me, you also know that I haven't been doing athletics really very much at all for the last few years, and my body has slowly been going through undulations of dipping back into fitness and then out again, and my physical health has been questionable in comparison, certainly, to my athletic abilities of the past. So the reason I'm telling you this is because to give you some kind of reference to where I'm at right now. So let's talk about addiction. I have a very addictive personality. I love to escape. I'm Pisces. I love to daydream and disappear off into the ether, and people will be having a conversation with me to my face, and I'll be drifting, detaching and wandering off, and then I'll have to come back and be pretend that I remember what we were even talking about. Sometimes it's really bad. I'm working on that. I'm getting much better at being present, but I love to escape, and I'm asking myself, why do I love to escape? What is it about this reality that I'm trying to escape from? And some things that I'm addicted to include food. I love to eat just for the sake of eating. The pure pleasure of chewing and swallowing and ingesting food is a distraction for me. Obviously we need food, but to eat it excessively at times that are unnecessary is a red flag for escaping. I'm addicted to my phone, this thing. I'm so addicted to this thing. Working on that. And I'm a social smoker. I smoke rollies, tobacco, on average, over the last year or two, certainly the last year, on average, probably 2 rollies a day, maybe 3, 2.5. So not much, and not cigarettes, but still the ceremony and the time, and it's something that I found really comforting. I find tobacco also to be very grounding, which pulls me back down into my body, but it's super unnecessary. And the other way I like to escape, in fact my most favorite way to escape, is to smoke cannabis, marijuana. And this is something that I've been doing for a number of years now, medicinally and non-medicinally. As I look back at the years that I was smoking cannabis without awareness of why, certainly it was medicinal. Much better escape than drinking, much better escape than overeating, and yeah, just a natural medicine really. But I have abused it on multiple occasions where I've smoked too much and actually used it to escape the emotions that are coming up for me because they felt too big and too scary. So I'd smoke and then be optimistic, but then less productivity goes on, and there's a whole journey. And if any of you guys have ever had a relationship with cannabis, you might understand a little bit better that it's kind of almost like a mistress. And I go through phases of smoking and not smoking, but and certainly recently in the last couple of months I've really managed to get much more of a handle on it, as I've been able and willing to process the emotions that are coming up, hold space for myself, and let myself feel all those hard emotions that want to be processed, that energy that's within me that wants to shift and move and not be carried anymore. Marijuana is something that I would use if I didn't feel like I had the capacity in my life. For example, like when things are getting really busy and hectic, I'm like, I can't deal with these emotions right now. I'm actually just gonna medicate, be optimistic, and push through. But more and more, that scenario was becoming one that didn't serve me at all, and I ended up actually not using the plant medicinally. So that's something that I've been working on. So yeah, getting vulnerable with you guys about my addictions. Wow, look at this beautiful tree. Oh, hello. So my new moon ritual certainly included reducing the amount of cannabis that I consume. And I'm quitting smoking straight up. I don't think that's going to be difficult actually, because I'm at the stage now where I'm not smoking very often at all. And when I do, I'm like, I don't even like this. This is just habit. This is just like a ceremony that I fall back on, because previously it's made me feel better about myself, but it's not working. It doesn't work anymore. And it's a priority now for me to actually just shift and process those emotions that come up. And the indicator for emotions coming up also is me wanting to escape. So if I find myself craving food at unnecessary times, or a rollie to smoke, or even a joint to smoke, at times that are incredibly inappropriate, it's obviously an indicator that I've got emotions that need processing to come up, and I'm trying to escape them. And traditionally, how I would escape is through my addictive tendencies. So this new moon that just happened last night was in Aquarius, which is a really, really progressive, transformative, doing, game-changing zodiac, and I'm an Aquarius rising, if you know what that means. So I felt it really potent, and felt like I had a lot of big shifts last night. I cried a lot yesterday, also because my grandma passed away yesterday. Bless her. My grandma is such a legend. She gave us so much love, unlimited love, just blasted us with love, her grandchildren. Absolute blessing to have, wow. And she has transitioned now, her beautiful soul has transitioned into her next chapter, whatever that might look like. And it's a beautiful reminder as well of our mortality and the cyclical nature of existence, of life, death, rebirth. And every breath is a death, rebirth. Cycles over and over again. And yeah, acknowledging those cycles and stepping into that energy of acceptance that there are forces that are happening and cycles that are happening that are much bigger and way out of our control, is a nice way for me, I find, to exercise faith in something bigger going on. And also that's what the new moon ceremony was about for me as well, the ritual of writing down my intentions and putting them out there and being like, I wonder what I'm going to get back by putting those intentions out there and sending those frequencies out into the universe. And source, or God, or spirit, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, the thing that creates all life, I wonder how it will respond. And that's the beautiful mystery, and that's an exercise for me of letting go of control and putting my faith in the universe and not trying to think too much about what the outcome's going to be of my intention setting, and instead be beautifully surprised when it appears in my life in a way that I probably would never have guessed. That's how it always works with me. Sometimes things happen, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is how it's going down? I would never have been able to imagine that. Yet if my ego and my smaller self had tried to control the outcome of the thing that I wanted, then I wouldn't have opened up space for Source, or Spirit, or the universe, or God to fill that space with exactly what I need. And my higher self knows what I need. My ego wants to control it. Oh, there's a bit of a download there for you. Talking about addictions, getting vulnerable about my cannabis use with you guys, and even telling you guys about smoking rollies. It feels really difficult actually to admit that, knowing that I've been a professional athlete. It just feels, and there's probably a lot of people judging me right now being like, dude, you like, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing my best, just the same as you and everybody else in the world. We're all doing our very best, but I'm bringing awareness to this, and I'm also creating awareness and sharing it, and being vulnerable with this, with admitting this, so that there's also a level of accountability that I can feel through sharing this online. So now I'm going to hike up Lion's Head from my house. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way, because one of the main things that I wrote down in my new moon ritual is exercise, getting back into my body and honoring this beautiful meat suit, this beautiful vessel that I've been gifted in this lifetime to explore this reality with. And the number one way I can think of right now of me honoring spirit is to honor the body that I've been gifted and really take much better care of it. And I'm not being harsh on myself at all right now, because I know that I have been taking really, really good care of my body in so many aspects that I've never been doing before, like through my diet and through sleep and through meditation, and certainly my mind I've been getting under control now. But my physical body, I want to take things back up a level to honor my existence, really. Lion's Head. I've been on this mountain quite a lot lately and I'm loving it. But yeah, I just would like to point out that I am not completely quitting marijuana. I find it to be an incredible plant medicine, and nor am I encouraging anybody to quit or take up consuming marijuana. Everybody's on their own journey, and we're all at different points in those journeys, but I just want to make sure I have control over it. So what that means right now is taking a break. Recently I've really cut down, and it's been impacting my life in such a positive way that I decided that it's time now to really commit to my body and commit to those changes that are required for me to leave parts of myself behind that are no longer serving me, because I identified myself also for many years, for the last few years, as someone who smokes marijuana. And by identifying myself as that person, I then make it much easier for me to step into that energy, because that's who I am, you know. And ego shedding is a lot about illuminating the parts of me that I identify with, and then deciding whether or not they're serving me and are working for me, and then leaving those parts behind, which is really the challenge of evolution, I guess, and certainly it's been a challenging evolution of my path to let go of the identity of someone who smokes, because it's a social thing as well, and I don't drink like at all, so it's kind of also my social lubricant, and that's in some ways medicinal, can be certainly, but the medicinal values of marijuana fall by the wayside as soon as it interrupts my missions and my purpose. And certainly I was finding life really tough over certain chapters over the last 2 years especially, and marijuana was there for me, and instead of alcohol, much healthier, and it was a medicine for me to get through those times. But now I know how to get through those times without having to escape and actually confront what's happening. And because I have awareness of my addictive escaping tendencies with marijuana. So now that I have awareness, it doesn't necessarily make it like easy straight away to make changes, but it begins with awareness. And it's certainly something I've been working on over the last few months, is cultivating the strength to hold space for myself and recognize when I need to hold space myself to process things, or when something's getting really tough, recognizing that I have a tendency to escape with marijuana. But yeah, I love marijuana. Marijuana's got me through a lot. And I also love psilocybin mushrooms. I love mushrooms, aka magic mushrooms, or shrooms, or whatever you want to call them. Incredible plant medicine. Also not something that's to be disrespected. It is a medicine. But I'm going to speak about mushrooms at some stage when I feel brave enough to, because it's also a very deep and vulnerable and personal journey that I've been on with that plant medicine, that I really want to share with you. But yeah, plant medicine, interesting stuff on this journey. Right, I'm going to do a hike now and probably put an Aubrey Marcus podcast on and try and download some light codes for the journey. But thanks for listening to this little download and this little new moon vibe. I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate you guys' lack of judgment, or judgment. I don't really care actually. That's why I'm sharing this, because it's also an exercise for me, and like not caring what people think really, and being open and vulnerable and truthful about my journey and the struggles, because that's what I'm supposed to be sharing. And I hope some of you guys find it to be relatable in terms of whatever addictions we find ourselves battling in this lifetime. I'm just very blessed that my addictions have been light and plant-based and not quite as destructive as some of the other addictions that you can potentially pick up in this lifetime. So yeah, feeling very blessed. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video soon.